Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trash Talk Podcast. My name is Sergej. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. And today we're talking about something that, well, might not be so fine anymore, depending on who you ask.
Yeah,
And the internet's
maybe.
changed.
It has, certainly.
And I'm afraid to say, for the worse.
I would tend to agree, yes. Yeah.
So what about that?
Right. Where do we even start? Do we just go and describe how it was before
Yeah, I
in
mean,
comparison to how it is now?
I guess the question most more is like, when do we start, right? Because
Yeah.
we could go back all the way to inception of the internet, which I
Like
wouldn't say was not
ARPANET.
better.
Yeah.
Um, like ARPANET was not better than the modern internet in probably any sense.
In any sense,
I
no.
mean, I guess besides the fact that it didn't have a lot of the downsides that a lot of the modern internet has, but in terms of I don't think it had any unique upsides. I think the Web 1.0 era is what people usually like are nostalgic for, right? Like your classic HTML websites, um, which mostly look
Yes.
garish, because people would just have their text be Comic Sans, then have a green background with pink text or something.
But that's great, though.
Which is iconic, of course, yes. But also, I will say, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of the modern minimalistic aesthetic thing, it is still probably, objectively speaking, well,
Yeah.
better. As much as there is some nostalgia, I think, for the old self-made websites, I think a bit more of a refined look was not necessarily the problem.
Yes.
Um,
I do agree.
I think the big problem is that the internet is used to be a lot of little websites. Sometimes they would link to each other, and now it's just YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, Reddit,
Yeah.
and I dare you say another website. Yeah, I mean, sure, right? Instagram, Blue Sky, right? But those are all social media sites as well, right? It's first of all, it's basically all social media or social media adjacent. It seems well, and search engines, I guess. Um, and second of all, it's just a couple of corporations, right? It's just it's Google and Meta,
Yeah.
and then you have a couple of smaller platforms. I mean, Reddit, I think, is still independent. I
I
think they're
think so, yeah.
publicly traded now, but I think they're still independent.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter
Twitter as well, yeah.
is
I was
independent
about
from
to
the
say.
rest of this, although it is now owned by a billionaire who also owns a bunch of other companies, although none of them particularly web relevant. I mean, obviously, Tesla and SpaceX have websites, I'm pretty sure, but that's not really the point.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
and so yeah, I mean, Twitter, Reddit,
Oh, yeah,
and
Wikipedia is
Blue Sky.
another one. Another of the big ones.
Yes, Wikipedia is. But the thing is, right? You're ruining my point because Wikipedia is great as it is, and I don't think we actually need to complain about that.
Yeah.
Wikipedia has barely changed, and then as far as it has changed, it has mostly changed for the better, I would argue. I used to not be a big fan of the redesign.
Man, I was a big fan of it day one.
I
It's so great.
I wasn't a big fan immediately, but I've come around to it. Although I don't like that they have the nowadays they have the default text size to medium ever since they have 3 seconds for text size,
Mm.
and the old default was a small one. And it's you don't need to make the text bigger. I have good eyesight, and websites have zoom functions, so I don't even need to. Granted, they work poorly way too often,
Yes.
but yeah, no, I mean Wikipedia is great. There are some other websites still that are smaller that people do still use, right? I mean, I just mentioned how companies have websites. I mean, those are probably not the ones that we're necessarily
Oh
thinking about,
god,
but
now that we mentioned Wikipedia, I just remembered fandom wikis. God,
well,
the bane of my existence.
um, there is a browser extension called
Yes.
AnyWikibody that leads you to the independent version of a wiki if there is one.
I have been
Now,
using that one
if
for
there
the
is
last
one,
months.
is very much the problem because a lot of them are still fandom wikis, sadly. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Tars Wiki has moved, is now I think fully independent. A lot of them have moved to either other wiki farms or like smaller networks where like I think the follow wiki might have helped the Tarsus wiki move at first, but I think they're now independent. Like I don't think we're like ever a part of it really, but
Mm.
yeah. So I mean, I guess it's a great example. Both of where the internet went wrong, and simultaneously where it's actually like
Moving in the right direction.
once again moving back a little bit, at least in that sense. It's actually a great microcosm of this because I I was failing to really um yeah, exactly, express the word of course express yeah, good. I was failing to express like the exact way it happened. Like yes, sure, it's fewer websites, right? And like it all feels very samey, right? But it's really hard to like explain.
Yeah.
And saying, oh, remember the Minecraft wiki? And then remember, I don't know, I mean, even the Hearthstone wiki is like different from the Minecraft wiki a little bit, and they were like completely different from the fandom wikis like they are now. Which I mean, the old, I guess essentially what I'm saying is the Gamepedia wikis used to look different from the Wikia wikis,
Yeah.
but they're not both fandom. So that, and I mean, even there, the Wikia wikis used to look very similar because they all had the same default style. But you could make some pretty significant changes to it, and there were a couple that actually had rather unique looks. And I'm not just talking about like background images and color choices, but like
Mm-hmm.
actually like differing layouts and whatnot, because you could actually do quite a lot with Wikia.
Yeah. I mean, because like the underlying engine that just supports that.
Yeah, I mean
They
MediaWiki,
didn't.
right?
Yeah, MediaWiki.
It's all MediaWiki, Wikipedia, fandom, like pretty much all of the indie wikis, like it's all MediaWiki.
Yeah.
Um, but fandom nowadays enforces like one specific style that you can't really get out of. So you can still change the colors and you can still have custom background images,
Mm.
but you can't really change like structurally how the pages look. Um, which is like I would argue a big deal, right? Because
It is.
that is once again doing the thing that both the internet at large by just having fewer websites and also a lot of the individual websites have done over time, right? You used to be able to customize your YouTube channel.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Um,
Used to be able to do a lot.
yeah, and I mean, most social media pages will also allow you to like customize your profile a lot. And these days, it's just you have a profile picture, and if you're lucky, you get a banner. Um,
Yeah.
if you're using Discord, you have to pay for having a banner.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, like you don't need banners on Discord. That
God.
actually makes fairly little sense because it's a chat application.
God, don't get me started on Discord. The profile customizations most of the time just annoy me just because like I open a user profile to just check something if they have
Yeah,
some role or like what their actual tag is, and I just get bombarded with like the effect and I cannot read it for like a second or two
yeah.
while the effect plays.
The thing is, that would make some degree of sense if it was like a social media page or something. If it was like a MySpace page, like maybe sure, right? Like if you wanna go all bling it all out, then go
Yeah,
ahead.
maybe.
But like it's Discord. It's what we used to call SMS. Like it's replacing
Yeah.
SMS, right? Like we used to not have profile pictures at all. Profile pictures, great. I actually like it.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to spot them on a list without having to like read all the names. Um, and that's about as much as you need. I mean, to be fair, I think on YouTube you also don't need much more, unless you're actually a content creator. Like if you're just a viewer, people are probably not going to click on a channel page anyways.
Yeah.
But that's what defaults are for, right? Like, and if someone who doesn't actually make any content wants to customize the page, then we'll let them.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you can still customize channel pages a little bit. You can have like you can select which playlists are on there and stuff like that. If it has a channel trailer or not. Like there are some small things, but like compared to like custom background images and whatnot, this is still quite different.
Yeah.
I I will say there are some perks to that because making things standardized has some advantages, but I I don't like if it's enforced to like a certain degree. Like there are certain things that YouTube changed that are good. Like I think as much as it kind of bugs me a little bit, undoing annotations was maybe not the right choice, but at least undoing linked annotations was definitely the right choice because there used to be videos that would just have an annotation over the entire screen that was just a link without text on it.
Oh. Oh. The yeah. Yeah. Right.
So right,
I had to remember what you mean by annotation.
YouTube
Yes.
annotations are little boxes that would pop up in a video sometimes.
Yeah.
And you could change those after the video is uploaded, which means that if you said something wrong in the video and someone pointed it out, you could put an annotation and be like, oh, small correction, I meant to say this or that.
Yeah.
Which is a really useful feature that would be great to still have. However, you could also use it to make links. This is how end cards used to work. You used to not have like those, like most recently watched video the viewer might like, channel subscribe button. You would have you would have like cards with some text on it that would be links.
Yeah.
And there was no limit on when you could place them in the video. And so people would sometimes just make like as big as they could on the middle of the screen. They would just put a link to somewhere. So when you try to pause the video by clicking on it, which is like a very normal way of pausing a video, you would instead open the link.
Yeah.
Which obviously I can see why YouTube didn't want that to be a possibility. I would have just removed the ability for annotations to be links, or at the very least remove for the ability to be links outside of the last 20 seconds of the video, whatever they're doing now with their
Yeah.
cards.
Or remove the ability to make them full screen.
I mean, yeah, but you could probably still figure out where the most likely spot for someone to have losses. I mean, I guess you could prevent the ability from having them be entirely see-through.
Or that,
so
yeah.
that you see there is something there. Although that would also, I mean, no matter what you do, you're gonna break something because people used to use those for good reasons. I think I've seen a channel that had made I don't know if that was like regular content, or was just one video, but sort of a choose your own adventure story.
Yeah, I've seen those around.
Because you could use the annotation also to just go to a timestamp within the video, or to different videos for continuation. But I mean, you could still do with end cards theoretically. But you could. I've seen one where it was just like it was one video that was choose your own adventure thing, and you just click on an annotation, and it would just take you to a different spot in the video. That's no longer possible. Is that like a story need a feature? No, but those videos just don't work anymore.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
And that is the kind of thing that wouldn't have even been a problem. Like you could just automatically convert. You could just be like no outgoing links, right? So it has to at least link to YouTube, because like you can't do much damage by linking to a different YouTube video. If someone clicks on an annotation accidentally and is led to a different YouTube video, then big whoops, right? Like if they link to an external site that contains a virus, that's more of a problem.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't contain a virus, there's probably some questionable reasons why you couldn't necessarily allow everything. But
I mean, nowadays they all the big websites have like this outgoing link page thingy where you have to like click like on next or whatever.
I don't think YouTube has that. I think YouTube only has it if you copy paste the link. Funnily enough,
Really?
if you click on a link in a video description, it just takes you to the site. If you copy the link and paste it into a URL bar, then it's like you're being redirected off of YouTube. Did you want to do this?
Well, that might be, huh?
I mean,
now that I think about it, I don't remember last time YouTube did this.
To be fair, I'm not sure if you can obfuscate links on YouTube.
That is a good question.
Because I don't think you can, which means that. I mean, I would have to check that out sometime. Also, if you can, then I probably should do that in the video descriptions. Although these days, the YouTube internal links are also different.
Yeah, they look neat now.
Yeah, I actually do like those. I'm not saying every single change that every single website has ever made is bad, right? But yeah, no, fandom's bad, right? That was the case study we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So, I actually liked Wiki. I thought it was pretty neat. Anyone could just make their own wiki if they wished to. A lot of stupid wikis were made, but there were also some good ones. Gamepedia was pretty good as well. I never used it as I never edited anything on Gamepedia, but I did look at, again, the Minecraft wiki I think was there for a while.
Could be.
The Hearthstone wiki used to be there. So I was on Gamepedia quite a bit, actually. And so those wikis are also pretty cool. I think they were more Wikipedia-like, at least more like the old Wikipedia. I guess Wikia was a bit more like the new Wikipedia, and Gamepedia was a bit more like the old Wikipedia. Just like layout-wise. Although Wikipedia doesn't really have sidebars in the same way that Fandom does.
Yeah.
And so Fandom then enforced the default style to basically be the only style I could have. So Fandom is Wikia, right? for anyone that doesn't know. And they bought Gamepedia, and it's now also fandom. So, they enforce a certain style, which is not inherent. Like their style is inherently bad, but again, enforcing it I think is bad because it's a wiki, right? Like being able to lay out information in the way that you want is actually quite useful as a feature.
Yes. I have come across so many big tables of data where it's just like because it's in a narrow column, it's super difficult to navigate for no reason.
Yeah. To be fair, that's also the case on Wikipedia now that it's more of a column where it used to have wider pages.
Yeah.
Although you can still set Wikipedia to be wide pages, of course. Which I do like as an option, although I do actually I think prefer the narrow pages these days. I used to think it was stupid to have the narrow pages, but it's actually like when you're reading it, it's more comfortable than like actually like.
It is so much easier to
Going- Yeah.
scan the lines.
But
But even then, like if you have the freedom, you can possibly break out the table to be wider than the reading
right,
column.
yes. I think I've
If you're
seen
given the
somewhere do
tools.
that. I think I've seen it somewhere on like not necessarily even on a wiki, but like on a website somewhere where they also had like a central reading column and then there was a table and it was wider because it made sense. Wonder how hard that would be because I think any container contained within a container has to at least at most be the dimensions of the parent container. I think
Generally, yes.
strictly speaking, the actual HTML structure of it or CSS whatever like, doesn't actually have to concern the wiki backend. Like as long as they allow it, they can figure out how to implement that. Right. So first of all, the fandom acquiring Gamepedia, not great in terms of like just monopoly reasons. There are still other media farm, wiki farms out there, but none of them are nearly as big.
Yeah.
And also converting all the Gamepedia wikis to fandom wikis, especially with like the new style. Well, to them the new style is quite something. Like for most regular pages, that's fine, but like oftentimes you have like the home pages, for example, are like really affected by that. Where it's like all of a sudden, like you had a 60x9 layout, and now you have like half that space basically. And so yeah, that is one reason why that is bad. Then they started at some point around the wiki to fandom transition, they started adding videos into the articles. This is like a shelf that has a video that fandom thinks might be relevant to the page. Or it used to at least be that. Now sometimes they're just random videos.
Yeah.
And they autoplay.
Oh god, I hate that.
I think there might be browser settings you can use to prevent autoplay just generally, but still, even if there are ways for you to get around that, by default they autoplay, which is bad.
Which is annoying at worst on desktop. On mobile, that can like just make you wait for a minute till the site loads.
Oh right, I don't have any mobile experiences to be honest.
Yeah. Like fandom mobile experience is atrocious.
Yeah, I remember when they first started doing it. I think it was actually right after the transition to being called fandom, which was never a good idea. And also the default fandom landing page was like this news thing, which had like barely any news in it sometimes, especially if you got into like the categories. It was like fairly sparse. Where was I? Right. At first they added videos that were like related to the articles in some ways, but also the editors of the wiki couldn't remove them. There was, I think the DC wiki for a while actually like had disclaimer like right where the video box was, where like there might be a video below this. We have absolutely no control over that, and we do not endorse any of the facts because they would sometimes have like actual explainer videos in there about the characters that the page was about, and sometimes the videos will contain errors.
Right. Of course they would.
Which is, I mean, listen, comic book superheroes are complicated. They get retconned all the time. There are different versions of the same character. I get why people might make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But on a wiki, where the whole point is that if someone makes a mistake, you can correct it. Having an embedded video that you can't remove that has facts baked in that might be incorrect is bad.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think these is mostly just like random videos, like listicles and whatnot.
Oftentimes not even at all related to the
Yeah,
wiki topic.
you have like all of the like side banners and shit. I mean, the entire left bar is in the very at the far left. There's like a bar where you can just go to other wikis.
Yeah.
It's like I, I don't think I would ever want that.
Yeah, no, like if I'm on a wiki, I'm looking for some specific piece of information usually.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to go to a wiki, I either go there by the URL or via search engine. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever been like, oh, what other wikis exist in here, right? So that entire bar, like, is just bad. I don't know what is there. What else on the left of the article? Is it just the outline? Because having the outline on the left is actually perfectly fine. Um,
I
on the
don't even remember an outline,
on the
honestly.
maybe there was an outline there. Maybe it was. I'm not even
It,
entirely sure.
if it is part of the sidebar, then like I don't see it because I just collapse it.
And then yeah, not that separate thing. But anyways, um, yeah. And then on the right you have like most popular pages, I think, and then like people like you also viewed. Those are innocuous enough, although I still don't see why every wiki should be forced to have those.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think yeah, there might just be ads under there as well, but I don't see ads because
Ad
ad
block.
blocker. Um, and so yeah, but like it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Um, and so Wikia slowly got worse, and so now a lot of wikis are actually leaving fandom again. I call it wiki again, didn't I? Wiki became fandom and then got worse. I think it's actually I think it's a pretty clear line from when they renamed to becoming worse. I think up to the point where they renamed, they were actually like still pretty decent. Like I'm
Possibly.
sure there were ways that could have
Yeah.
been better, and
But it was tolerable.
yeah, like I didn't have any problems with it. And I think shortly after they started doing the fandom thing, they started with the videos. At first, just like explainer videos that were relevant to the articles, which is still like super dubious. Like oh, you just added an explainer video about the character on this page I am to learn about the character, and now I'm supposed to take the video information from your video over the information from the article. Like that defeats the whole point of having the wiki in the first place.
Right?
I mean, I get that not every single article will ever have a video associated with it, but still. And again, now it's just random videos. And oh, there's usually oftentimes it's also like a banner, I think on the side, maybe also in the middle of the article, but like, take this quiz.
Oh yeah.
Love those. I mean, I have taken one or two of those just for like funsies, but yeah.
All of course AI generated. So
I mean, originally
lots
probably
of
not because they've been doing that for a while, but most of them were also like pretty bad.
yeah.
And even if they weren't, I'm here to look at an article about something and not about your stupid quizzes. And the most intrusive that Wikipedia gets is, "Hey, please give us money," which
Yeah.
admittedly can be annoying at times, but like, I get it. Wikipedia needs to stay online, right? Like,
Although they like if you look at what they spend it on, it is kind of dubious again.
okay,
They spend like a majority of the cash on like not maintaining Wikipedia, but like on other stuff. But that's not the topic right now.
right, okay, but like Wikipedia as a website at least is great.
Yeah,
Um,
that is true. Cannot argue with that.
and yeah, so fandom as a website is not great. It's quite the opposite, in fact.
Yeah.
And yeah, so now a lot of wikis are going indie again. The downside is that you can't take a wiki off of fandom, which I kind of sort of get, but also is kind of stupid because if like the bulk of the people editing the wiki want to leave, then just leaving an old outdated version of the wiki on the website just because someone might want to use it is not great. And obviously, because a big company that's SEO optimized to all hell, it's actually very possible that if you're
Yeah.
looking for something, you're gonna get the fandom link over the actual indie wiki link, which also then, if you click on it, helps the SEO even more. Um,
Right. It also doesn't help that like most search engines look for exact duplicate content. So if you move, you have to change every single article.
I mean, wouldn't necessarily happen for every single article, but a lot of the more important articles will probably at least somewhat change over time, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's still not great. And again, for the search engines, I get it, right? You don't want to like have all the copycats showing up high in your search and rankings, but like this is the original, like just existing elsewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the fandom one is arguably the copy.
Yep.
In as far as it has the same content, but it doesn't have the same people, right? So, yeah.
It's a dubious situation.
But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how representative that is of the wider internet, but I do like the trend of the wikis going independent.
Yeah, I think it is pretty representative. Like you see this kind of trend of moving away from the big central websites in things like Twitter, for example. There's Blue Sky now. There's Mastodon that like
Yeah,
some people adapt.
but like it's mostly Blue Sky these days. I think like
Yeah,
most of the other ones didn't really succeed much, and the main reason why the change is not because of anything fundamentally wrong with Twitter, like as a platform. I mean, but more because of like everything that's happened since Elon Musk bought it, and
yeah,
also because Elon Musk specifically owns it. Um, if like because Blue Sky is basically Twitter.
it is. Yeah,
It's not like Blue Sky is better than Twitter in like from like a technical standpoint. Like it doesn't have the buying check marks to get boosted in the algorithms. Like again, all the stuff that Musk added. So there are, I guess, some ways in which it is like on the technical level also better, but that's mostly because Musk made Twitter worse.
yeah. I mean, also similar thing with like Reddit going on, where people are migrating away from Reddit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like not huge amount of people, but like there is like some people that migrate away from it, and I assume this trend will continue on for a while.
I mean, as far as I've heard, Reddit hasn't had any scandals in the last couple months, so.
I mean that's a new record, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when like all of the like subreddit blackouts were happening, and like there was like a
Yeah,
lot of stuff about like the API access and AI training, and all. There was a lot of dubious stuff going on there. I haven't heard anything about that recently, although I do wonder how much of that is because they aren't doing dubious stuff anymore, and how much of that is because all the people that cared in the first place aren't like not being there anymore.
yeah,
I don't know. Um, I will say I feel like Reddit. Not that I'm using it a ton, but I feel like it is. It feels less. I don't know even know if I want to say less active, but it does feel like this. Somehow it feels lesser ever since like the blackouts started happening. Like ever since that time, it just feels like there's not as much varied content on there anymore as there used to be.
yeah,
Because like,
possibly.
it's a lot of like whatever the big news story is, like being on every single subreddit somehow, like and that sort of stuff. Where like it feels like you're just scrolling through like 3 or 4 different stories over and over again. I mean, there is some other stuff in between, of course, but it feels like it used to be more varied when you went into Reddit.
I don't know. My feed looks very varied,
I mean,
with exception to Anarchy Chess, because that's always the same.
Google up a song. Um, yeah. Um, I mean, that's also the thing, right? Like for Reddit, there's different ways of using it. If you go to the actual front page of Reddit, I mean, it was never a great experience, I think, but I feel like it's gotten worse. If you go to just like
Possibly.
the subreddits of your choice, obviously, like either because you follow them or you have like a multi-reddit setup, or you just go to a specific subreddit, then obviously that can differ, and that's one of those things where like these kinds of platforms, I think Reddit might in some ways also be unique to that. We have like the communities that are like separately moderated. Like
Yeah,
you have YouTube channels, you have like Twitter feeds, right? But like that's all just like one person. Sometimes I mean YouTube channels sometimes have a team behind them,
yeah,
um, but it's not the same as like a Reddit community, right? Because one person can post to it and people can respond to those posts. It's not really everyone can post, and it's just specifically moderating it. So I think there's not really good equivalent. I think Mastodon maybe kind of sort of works like that. I've heard,
sort of.
perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Yes.
don't know how Mastodon works
Yeah.
exactly. I've heard it's complicated, and I never had the desire to go there because not enough people went there overall. Like it's the network effect, right? If no one is there, you don't have no reason to go there.
Yeah. I mean, in my circles, there is like a decent amount of people on Mastodon. Um, so I've considered moving there, but like I don't really use Twitter or Reddit much anyway. So I decided
Yeah,
not to.
I um I very occasionally like go on Reddit just as like a looking at Reddit. I don't really post on Reddit much at all these days.
Yeah,
And I think I tweeted once.
could be.
Because when you make a Twitter account, they encourage you to make your first tweet.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I might have posted some videos here and there. Historically. But yeah, no, I my Twitter feed, if anything, was just like spamming YouTube videos out there for like an audience of 0.
Respect the hustle.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't used Twitter in years. I have Blue Sky now. I made an account.
Yeah.
And I haven't used it otherwise, but I have an account now. I mean, partly because
you're officially represented now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, gotta make sure that I have my username.
Right.
Um,
Oh, that's a great thing on Mastodon. You can just spin up your own Mastodon server and have all the usernames that you want.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? With the Mastodon instances, which is like the whole reason of why Mastodon is never gonna be the new Twitter.
What do you mean? You can just register on like a random instance of someone else, or like a random big one.
Yeah, no, I get it, but like the whole point is like it's already too distributed, right? Like if you want a Twitter alternative, people have to like people are not gonna go there unless it's like the place to be, rather than just like a bunch of places to be.
No, but that's the thing. That's the great thing about Mastodon. You still have one feed, like your feed. It can pull from all the other Mastodon instances.
Okay. Like I'm sure it's great for people that like know how to use it, but like people are not gonna learn how to use it, right? Like there is a reason why so many people are on Twitter and Facebook, because they're simple.
Yeah.
Right? Like will be people that get into it, and there will be people that won't, and maybe the people that get into it do use it better in some ways than the others, but the others can still use it in like a solidly functional way without having to like figure shit out.
Yeah. But then again, that kind of makes the whole thing worse because it's like one place where you go to.
Yeah, it's also all like very designed in like a very lowest common denominator way, which is kind of what we're complaining about, but also is the reason why it's popular. I think that's also one of the problems in
I
general.
think one thing that we all use, and like it is very relatively distributed, where it's like not just one platform. Is like emails. Emails work everywhere. You can spin up your own email server. You'll probably have to configure it in a bunch of non-obvious ways so that you can actually send emails to Google or Microsoft and they don't block you instantly.
Yeah. No, but I mean, email is
it
a
works.
great example of something where it's not like a centralized occasion, it's just a standardized protocol. But also, one of the reasons why email works is because you generally send email to one person. Like you can send to multiple people, of course. And I mean, I guess newsletters work that way, but like it's always like one to one or maybe one to many, but it's never like a. I mean, I guess you could with like CCs have like a big email chain with a bunch of people in it, but that like doesn't happen all that much, and it's still usually like a big group of people on the email is like 20 maybe, right? Like in a Twitter thread, you're gonna have hundreds of people.
Well,
also email is inherently private as well, which is not. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying like it's not gonna become a new social media alternative.
There is some specific groups where it is used kind of like a Reddit thread, specifically in development of like the Linux kernel or like just like older big open source projects like Git, for example.
Yeah.
Where it does like send, like when you send an email, it does go on the like email chain thing, whatever, where like a bunch of people receive it and like you receive like updates on that later on down the line.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that email is a bad format. It's very great. It's one of those things where again the modern world probably won't work without it. But then again, there's facts. No, facts objectively worse. But um, yeah, no, I think the one thing that I still have to talk about, we've been going in circles for a while, but not even just circles, but um, I kind of miss forums. I know forums still exist, but I feel like we don't use forums as much anymore.
Yeah.
And Reddit is just worse. So
I don't know about that. Like, how can a forum be better than like Reddit? Like the format Reddit uses, not Reddit as a platform.
yeah, I mean, see that as a very simple case I can make for it, which is the way you communicate in a forum thread is just fundamentally different from Reddit. Now that doesn't necessarily mean the forums are
Yeah.
better, but it does mean that they are better at certain things. For example, it is basically impossible to respond to everyone in Reddit right, at once. You could write a new top level comment, but it might not be seen. You could edit your original post if you are the original poster. And that might not necessarily be seen.
Right.
I mean, you can't guarantee being seen anyways, but sometimes you would have threads on forums that were like one person was essentially running the thread, and like you would you could do it as, for example, as a Q&A, right? You would, instead of answering everyone individually, you might just have a post where you answer all the questions on the new post. You could ask the questions individually, it just makes it more annoying to find the answers. Um, but if there are other cases where that might make even less sense. And so sometimes when if you're developing something, right? You not necessarily like software development, but like just if you're like, I mean, theoretically, it would be software development. Like if you're developing an idea, right, with some people, you're like spitballing ideas. It actually makes sense to have like a temporal progression throughout the whole conversation rather than having disparate
Yes.
conversations threads that are like every now and again I'll see a forum post somewhere, usually old forum post, like a forum that is either like inactive or at the very least not very popular these days, and I'm like, huh, like this specifically works because it's the forum format. Ah, that's a mouthful. Um, and like this just wouldn't work on Reddit, which is it seems like the obvious comparison
Yeah.
because I feel like communities used to have forums and now they have subreddits, and there are perks, right? Because much like with Wikia, just go on Reddit, you're like, I want to have r/this and that, and if that doesn't exist yet, you can just have it.
Yep.
Trashcanview.reddit.com, right? Like, I haven't been there in forever, but I'm pretty sure it still exists.
Maybe.
Do they delete subreddits when they're inactive? I don't think so.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah, trashcanview.reddit.com. Or reddit.com/r/trashcantv if you're so inclined. I actually quite like the subreddit name.reddit.com
Yeah,
formatting.
it is nice.
But I mean, while the subreddit wasn't particularly active, I would have never made a forum. I mean, maybe like if the channel got bigger, but like you don't make a forum for like a YouTube channel these days, right? Like it's just really, especially for like a small YouTube channel that has maybe an
Yeah,
audience.
no.
But like setting up a subreddit is just like you just go on Reddit, you tell them like, oh, I want to own that subreddit, and then you own that subreddit.
I mean, what if there was a similar website to Reddit where you can just like open a new forum?
I think
Would you do that?
I think I mean, maybe not for Trash Can TV at this point because like the audience is like even like the active viewer audience is even smaller than it used to be. But in theory, I would have probably done that maybe. Also, other thing where forums are really useful is you don't just have threads which are like Reddit posts, but you also have categories that the threads go into. You could have multiple subreddits, of course,
Or
but
you
it's
could just
ingenious.
use tags.
You could use tags, yeah.
That works even better in my opinion. Because what if a post or like a thing belongs to multiple topics?
Wait, stupid question. Can Reddit posts have multiple tags?
I don't even know.
Because I'm pretty sure the answer to that is no.
I don't even know.
Which means that
I'm gonna be honest.
which means that the whole tag system is barely any better in that case because
Yeah.
okay, I do see the appeal of tags in theory. I guess I see them in practice as well.
No, like I can argue for tags all day long.
Yeah, no, I mean tags are quite useful. Okay, fair. Reddit has tags. That's basically like forums. Just that once you go, I mean, I guess then there's the thing where like I would still probably want the front page to be the list of tags rather than the newest posts or whatever. So there's still like a little bit of thing where like you can't customize the subreddit that way.
Mhm.
Which I mean, I guess that's also always going to be an argument of like hosting your own thing over like the existing in this case I guess the forum farm, if whatever you want to call Reddit, um where you can customize it more. I think there is an advantage to that,
Yeah.
but also most forums did look very similar. I'm pretty sure there was like a standard template that they all used.
Yeah, I think like most forums run on like one or two different engines.
Yeah, I mean there's probably a reason why they all have like forum code or whatever as the way to write your forum posts.
Yeah,
I
I think there's PHP or something
Yeah, something like
as one of the
that.
formats.
Yeah, there's like I think that's what it's actually just called form code. There is I think you can also do Markdown in a lot of them. I think you might be
Yeah,
able to do HTML in some of them, like HTML
I
tags.
think so as well. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there are like in some forums had like we're like, oh yeah, you were in like the post editor and it was like, oh yeah, you can like this or that. You can actually select like which method of formatting your post you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was really cool. Although I only ever knew one of them and I don't even remember most of that. From my days when I was more active on the forum. I think also you can format your forum posts better than you can a Reddit post. Um,
Can you?
I personally prefer the spoiler format much better on how forums use to handle it than Reddit does it. Although for like
Oh yeah.
actual spoilers, like having it just be blacked out and you can click on it is fine. But actually, I always liked the collapsible spoilers where because
Both are useful.
they're called spoilers. I mean, yeah, both are useful, and I wouldn't be against having both.
Yeah.
But they were called spoilers, probably because they weren't originally intended to have spoilers. I guess I don't know. But like that's not what they were used for. They were used to have sections of your post that you could hide away to like organize the post better.
Yeah.
Um, Image embedding. I think at this point you can actually have an image in a reply on a Reddit thread. This is also
You
the other thing.
can. Yeah.
Like a lot of the formatting you do for a thread, you can't really do for a reply. I think. Actually, a decent amount of it you can, but like still, there's a lot less that you can do than on a forum. Um, there are fun things that forums used to have like signatures, which I still think are not like super useful, but I did always like them.
God, they're so stupid.
Forum signatures are not particularly useful, but I just kind of like them. But I think that's mostly for nostalgia reasons. I will admit that.
Yeah.
Um,
If anything, it's nostalgia.
but yeah, I mean the way that both posts are structured, I think, is just better because you just have more options. As far as I'm aware, although I've not like super deep gone into what you can do on Reddit, but I'm pretty sure it's more limited. Um, like the collapsible spoilers, I think are like a big one that comes to mind. I think a lot of other stuff you can do, like image embedding and like different like subheadings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think the way the conversation flows, where you have one central conversation that everyone can participate in, rather than having separate side conversations that are splitting off from it, has its perks. Um,
It does, but only when like the topic of conversation is inherently very linear.
yes. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about forums. Like sometimes you'd have like an entire page of just off-topic conversation in there. Um,
Or 5 or
yeah,
15.
that is something that could be fixed by just like removing those posts. Like the
Yeah.
individual entries. Um, but yeah, no, I do think that the conversation, like having one central conversation, is more useful a lot of times than having a bunch of different conversations. I mean, if the original purpose of Reddit is like to post links, right? So having discussion about a page, having it effectively be like a comment section makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, Reddit comments are just that. They're a comment section. You're
Yeah.
not forums are for conversation. There is a distinction because um, a comment is like many people responding to one thing and not necessarily talking to each other and not even always talking to the person who originally posted it.
Mm-hmm.
And forum conversation is like you're talking to each other. You're not just shouting
Yeah.
in the void and thinking that maybe someone will see your reply, but you're like actually talking to each other. Um, And that probably has different use cases, but I still think that like the idea that any given forum could just be replaced by a subreddit is silly. And I guess in a way, almost forums are more social.
In a weird way, maybe.
Because you're talking to each other rather than just like saying a funny thing and maybe someone responds to it or whatever. Like there are insightful discussions that also happen on Reddit, but it doesn't seem like, I mean, it's almost by design somewhat exclusive, right? Where like every time you say something, it breaks out into a new conversation, and it kind of excludes every conversation that was going on before, and it's like directly above it in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
And so,
but also I feel like forums, especially like the longer ones, are also kind of exclusive to basically only the people that participated there from close to the start. Because like not many people will go through the entire list or even just skim it.
yeah, I mean, oftentimes, like you're fine reading the first and last page if you want to like really participate in the conversation. You get what it's about, and you get what's currently being talked about. In cases like that have happened, someone brings up something and it's like, well, actually, that was on page 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Also, much like Reddit posts, I don't think most forum threads are like meant to go on indefinitely. Some do go on for quite a while. And yes, at that point, it's like, yeah, if you aren't a part of it, you probably aren't going to be.
I have seen way too many forums with like multiple hundreds of pages. Not even posts, just pages.
Yeah.
And goddamn, it's hell to go through.
Yeah.
If you find some specific piece of information in there.
Yeah, they're kind of terrible for, like, if someone has a question, they used to also post to a forum, and like people would discuss it, and like the final solution would be like, bad word choice. Would be like somewhere like fairly towards the back.
Yeah.
But also because people keep talking, it's not entirely at the back either. So you just kind of have to look for it somewhere.
It's like at page 38 out of 75
But
or something.
I would almost argue that it's just a bad use case of forums rather than forums inherently being bad.
Could be.
I mean, I guess that's the
Probably,
thing, right?
yeah.
Like the Reddit format isn't bad. It's just different. And it serves different purposes than the forum format.
Yeah.
I personally think I like the forum format better. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is objectively better, I guess. I just miss forums, you know? I mean, again, they still exist. There's not really much. There's not really much to miss in a practical sense. And you know, we do always miss the past to some degree. But yeah, no, I do think that Reddit does lose some of the possibilities that forums have. It probably gains some others in exchange. I was thinking not too long ago about the Minecraft forum, right? When you were installing mods, you used to go to the Minecraft forum, and every mod would have its own post on the Minecraft forum.
Right, yeah.
And then
that's been a while.
And those I don't think are inherently better than say like a CurseForge page, but they were better though. Like I'm not even saying like the format of the forum is better than that of CurseForge. As a matter of fact, CurseForge is probably better. But god damn it, I think it's mostly because of mod pages, not because of the platform difference. But like most mod pages on CurseForge suck ass.
Yes. But that's probably because like CurseForge probably also limits heavily what you can stylize on it.
It does have expandable spoilers. It does allow you to embed images. Right? Like all of the functionality fundamentally that was on the forum that was frequently used is there. The problem is people don't write descriptions to the mods anymore. Now part of that is because of NEI. REI, JI, whatever. I'm getting old. The point is, like, you don't need like an entire spoiler just with recipes.
Man, too many items though.
But too many items doesn't have recipes in it.
Didn't it?
No, not enough items was the first one to have a built-in recipe. Right. There was recipe evoking mods, but a lot of them were just like list all recipes, and you just had to like page through it until you found the relevant one. I think not enough items was the first searchable recipe thing that I'm familiar with. And it looks just like TMI, except that it has a different skin by default. But I always select old TMI skin, which I don't think REI can, but JEI can as well. Which
Could
always
be.
was the reason why I didn't like REI as much, because it has a Minecraft layout rather than like the Minecraft look rather than TMI look.
Mm,
And I'm old,
horrible.
so you know, it has to look like TMI because it's just what it looks like.
Right.
There's no it's better. As a matter of fact, it arguably fits better with the Minecraft look. But again, I'm old. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Minecraft, I do feel like I'm old. Yeah, no, but okay, so the mod pages, right? They used to have recipes on them, which is unnecessary these days, and I admit that, and I don't think that should change necessarily. They sometimes have mod spotlights embedded, like YouTube videos,
Mm-hmm.
which I think you can still do at variants. You can link them.
I still see a lot of mods do that.
I've seen some mods do it, but I feel like it's still rarer than it used to be. I feel like it used to be most mods, and now
I think it's because
most of
mod
it.
spotlights themselves are getting rarer.
Yes, they're getting rarer and they're getting worse. Although I think it's mostly getting worse because a lot of the bigger people that used to do them don't do them anymore. It's also that, again, one of the main reasons why we want to watch a mod spot is because you want to figure out how the mod works. You might need to know the recipes, which is unnecessary these days, and a lot of mods have guidebooks. So there are good reasons for why you
Yeah.
don't need a lot of that stuff anymore. But yeah, they used to link mod spotlights. You should just have like write-ups of what the mod does, screenshots of what it looks like, and like CurseForge has an intentional images tab. Like just so they can look at the screenshots, which also means that most mods don't integrate the screenshots into the actual text, which is mildly annoying, or there's like different images in the text versus the images tab. Mildly annoying, not a big deal. But I've seen a lot of mods that have like one image.
Yeah.
And again, I think the culprit there is not CurseForge itself as a platform being worse. I think the other problem is actually that because most people don't download mods anymore, but rather install pre-built mod packs. I mean, if you go to CurseForge and you go to Minecraft, the first thing it suggests is mod packs.
Yep.
And they don't do that because they think that's best. They do it because that's what's most popular. I'm pretty much certain there. And so I get why you don't need to write a description, because the only people that are going to look at your mods are going to be sickos like me and people that make mod packs. And
or the ones that like still use mod packs but extend them.
Yeah, I used to do that sometimes as well, but yeah,
I do that pretty much every time.
I actually really like building up from the ground. It does mean that I run to the problem where I keep installing the same mods. Because discovery is a bit more limited. Which also used to be kind of cool. I think you can still sort by new or something, but like you used to just sometimes go to the Minecraft forum, go to the mod section, and just look what was in there. Anything looked cool, and then you download it, and that worked because if you post something new, it's up top. But also, if you respond to an old thread, it comes to the top again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an intuitive mix between new and popular. Where if it's a popular mod, it's going to get more replies and it's going to always be like fairly high up. And if it's a new mod, it's probably going to be fairly high up because it hasn't had a chance to drop down yet.
That is an interesting system. Yeah, that is a good advantage.
That's actually
I haven't thought of that.
One thing that I thought about earlier with forums, where it's kind of unique to them, and that's what I was saying about all forums kind of being the same, because every forum used to have the top post being what everyone was most recently replied to, basically, which is a very sensible way of sorting it. At the same time, it seems really weird. Where like, I mean, sure, new posts are going to be up top, right? So it's not like you're going to miss anything. But also, popular posts are going to be at the top. But if they're not popular anymore, they're going to drop down fairly quickly. Which is where the practice of necroing comes from, where you just reply to a post just so that it goes back up again. Well, especially to an old post. It's only necroing if the post is already dead. But yeah.
That makes sense now.
But yeah. And you're not allowed to do it twice. in most forums, you're not allowed to reply to that thread. But if you reply again without someone else having replied in the meantime, you're just abusing the system to like knock it back up, and that's generally not allowed. I'm sure there are exceptions. Not every forum necessarily has the same rules, but like that is like, I think that's like standard forum etiquette as well. But yeah, no, the forum was, I think, better for discovery, because if you go to CurseForge, it's usually just most popular mods, and it's like, I know all of those already. Like every now and again, a new mod becomes popular.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not sure if you can sort by newest, but if you can, it would just be by like newest put in, which is like
also not really what you want.
A lot of random little mods.
Yeah.
And so the forum, the default sorting method of forums is kind of ingenious that way. And I don't think it was ever meant to be ingenious. I think it just like
It
how
just
they thought was the
happened,
most
yeah.
logical, and then yeah. So yeah, no, forums, right? I do think there's a lot to say about forums. Finding a Minecraft mod through forums and then having to go to an AdFly link to download it, having to wait
Classic.
5 seconds for every single mod,
Classic.
is not great. And CurseForge is much better. You can either download them directly, or you can add them to the client if you use the Curse client or Twitch or whatever they call Twitch app or whatever they call it these days. I think it is actually CurseForge these days. It used to be the Twitch app.
It used to
The
be.
point is, actually, there might have been difference. I don't know.
Then it was like at some point Overwolf, I think.
Maybe. The point is, CurseForge is arguably a better platform for Minecraft mod installation and for pack creation, and, but it is maybe a worse platform for discovery, and it just in practice ends up being a worse platform for mod descriptions. But that is nothing to do with the platform itself.
Yeah.
Although I do still think that, well, actually the comment section under it is then sorted by new rather than by old, which is what forums basically are. So like, I think there are some perks. Again, I think like for specifically the person it's built for, if it had like a slightly better discovery methods, it would like unambiguously be a superior platform. And the main reason there why I miss the old Minecraft forum days is just because the presentation was better. But that is a different change in the ecosystem. It has nothing to do with the internet changing. A little bit maybe. You could draw some analogy to like Minecraft mod packs as pre-curated experiences versus like a DIY attitude to building your own pack.
I guess you could.
I have built Minecraft mod packs and thought, I kind of low-key miss having to fix all the item IDs. Like that is like nostalgia.
Really?
It's like pure nostalgia, right? Because
you missed that.
like having to like do all of the conflicts to like.
I hated that.
I mean, it could be frustrating at times, but I'd gotten good at it over time, right? And so it's just kind of like a part of making a mod pack, and it's just not there anymore. And it feels like I'm missing something,
Man, always delete the meta inf.
Yeah, right? Like, how can I even play Minecraft without deleting meta inf? I mean, I guess I could still do that. I mean, the mods are going to try anymore, but I'm pretty sure you could still delete meta inf. Okay, yeah. The fact that almost every single mod thread obviously had the question like, "Oh, my game doesn't run. What is happening?" And someone's like, "Delete meta inf." Every single time. It does get a bit repetitive. But yeah, the good old days, I miss the good old days.
The good old days are nice. Should we move on?
I mean, yeah, we should have probably moved on half an hour ago. The problem is, this is like we're talking about nostalgia, and like not moving on is kind of the point,
Yeah.
Oh
god, it's so late already.
Yes, we're doing Squirtle, which
what?
No, never
facts.
Facts. We're doing facts. We're doing facts. We're doing facts, and then we're doing Squirtle.
Then we're doing Squirtle. That's true.
It's been a while since I've forgotten that facts come before the halftime show. Speaking of the good old days, I mean, like facts used to actually go after the halftime show.
They did, yeah. Until someone pointed out, I forgot who. What was it? Morris?
It was either Morris or Ivan. I think it was Morris.
Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about like social media and stuff, right? So we're not the only social creatures on Earth. Luckily, probably. There's many more of them. In particular, there's a research paper that came out. I would say recently, but I don't really know the date right offhand. Studying communication between Egyptian fruit bats and how they communicate. Wait, I think I already said that. I think I said communicate twice. Anyway,
it's fine.
Yeah. They used AI, like those AI models that were usually used on like voice recognition and like recognizing like speech patterns and like ones that try to figure out what words mean just through like listening to them and context.
Right.
and they were actually able to get some pretty good results with that. Um, Turns out Egyptian food bats mostly just argue with one another about like, oh hey, you're too close to me. Please step away a bit. Or yeah, that food is mine. Stuff like this. Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool application of AI.
Yeah, no, the moment you said it, I was like, this is kind of obvious if you think about it.
Mm.
But we never did it. Right, so next up, dolphins, obviously. Um,
Hopefully, right?
and also, while we're at it, we also have text-related ones. So run the one instrument script through that. Figure out if that actually like makes sense or not.
But I mean, we already kind of figured out that it should theoretically make sense because of like the patterns that
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
there.
There is no sign of it being gibberish, and also it was written fluidly, which suggests that the person knew what they were writing as they were writing it. So it's probably not like a super complicated cipher that you have to like backcheck for every letter.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't know what it means, right? And
Right.
so having something that can analyze meaning out of, I mean, I guess maybe you can't do that out of just
Probably not.
text because you don't have any inflections or anything to go off of. It doesn't communicate with anything, so you don't have a structure that way. But I feel like AI would.
You also only have a very, very small sample size compared to like what the researchers had for the bats. For the bats, they had studied them and recorded them for 75 days. Um, and they collected like 15,000 different samples of like
Yeah,
the vocalizations plus with video feed as context.
yeah. I was gonna say like you probably want to check back on the video feed to make sense to make sure it makes
Yes.
sense what they supposedly
And
said.
what I forgot to mention is that like fruit bats actually also address specific other fruit bats. They don't just shout out into the void.
Right. So by like turning to them and speaking to them specifically, or by having names.
Uh, by different like inflections.
Okay.
So I assume it's kind of like names.
Yeah, because we figured out there was another type of animal that we recently figured out. Actually, I think it was elephants have
Could
names
be.
for each other. Um, so that like yeah, no, names are actually not unique to
Yeah.
humans.
Which
Like,
is kind of
not just in the
cool.
sense of us giving animals names, but like animals give each other names.
Yeah.
Do
And
pets give us names?
possibly.
Oh,
Probably.
we're
And yeah,
terrible at responding to them.
and they figured out also through this AI thing that they have like they alter speech patterns or like vocalization patterns when talking to some specific bats. So they also just like change up how they communicate.
It's called code switching.
Yeah, kind of cool that
People
like
do that too.
yeah, we do, but it's cool to see that like other animals do it as well.
Yeah, I find it funny how the human perception of animals is just like, oh, they're kind of stupid and whatever.
Yeah,
And then like the more we research them, like the more it turns out they're like actually a lot more like us than we thought.
yeah,
Like every single time, basically, we research something. It's like, oh, actually, they recognize themselves in the mirror. Oh, actually, they talk to each other. It's like, yeah, right. Just because
I
you
mean,
can't understand it doesn't mean they don't.
not all animals
Yeah, no.
recognize themselves in the mirror.
Surprisingly many do though.
True.
I think they did with fish.
Some fish might. But like I remember seeing like the chickens don't, for example.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But like other bird species do.
Wait, were those like poultry chicken or like egg-laying chickens or something like
I
that?
don't remember. It's been a long
Because
while ago.
I would suspect that that our like farm animals are probably more stupid than their wild counterparts
Very likely to,
because they're
yes.
bred to emphasize certain traits. None of those traits were necessarily the ones that they would need in nature, and so intelligence would by no means be like a trait would be actively favored. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be actually disfavored, or actually, sometimes when animals escape, we shoot them. Which
Yeah.
does actually mean some of the smartest ones might have been, but or they just escaped, right? Like either way, they're not part of the
Yeah.
human population anymore. And so, there was like a, there was the place somewhere where they had to like whenever like a cow would figure out how to get out, they would have to separate them from the rest of them because they would teach the other cows how to get out as well. Um, but
And
you know,
another point of animals being very social.
yeah, and so yeah, so it makes sense that intelligence wouldn't be prioritized, and then over time, there's no benefit to having intelligence. So other things would prioritize over it. So it would make sense why animals that were bred in captivity for generations might not be as smart as
Yeah.
the wild cows. Now, dogs might be an exception because we actually like it when they listen to us and when they can do things.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'm gonna talk about something very different.
All right.
Well, it's also biology, but um, so there was a study. I think it was last year. This article also conveniently doesn't have a date. Where they had people eat a dozen eggs each week. Specifically, they actually talked about they were fortified eggs, which are you feed the chickens some stuff so there's more vitamins in the eggs or something. There's
I
like
see.
fewer, I think it's like more omega-3 fatty acids and stuff instead of the other ones which are bad. Anyways, I don't know if it's like super relevant to this study, but that's the only study I have, so have to. So yeah, um, so they split up the people in groups. They either ate 12 fortified eggs per week or ate fewer than 2 eggs of any kind. And then they, right, that's it. Fortified eggs contain less saturated fat and additional vitamins and minerals such as iodine, vitamin D, selenium, vitamin B2, B5, vitamin B12, and omega-3 fatty acids. So, after following participants for 4 months, it turned out that the blood cholesterol was very similar between both groups. And as a matter of fact, there were benefits where the group that ate a lot of eggs had more HDL, which is considered good cholesterol, and fewer LDLs, which are considered bad cholesterol. So the classic association between eggs and cholesterol, like don't eat many eggs or cholesterol levels go up, is actually basically just wrong. Yes, eggs contain cholesterol, but actually your cholesterol gets better
I
when
see.
you eat at least these kinds of eggs. Now, unclear if that would also apply to regular eggs,
Mm.
but yeah, the egg association is just not entirely correct.
Yeah. Well, let's see if it replicates.
Right, small sample size, single study, further research is needed, especially on the part where there might have been health benefits to the participants. Hard to say. I think they had like 160 people in the study. I already closed the article, but
Mm.
um, not like a tiny study, not like where you could say like, oh, it's just chance, but also not enough where you can be like, this is clearly like now the new scientific theory. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I was
Still cool though.
yeah, I was like when stuff like this comes up, it's like, oh, we thought this was true, and it makes sense what we think, right? Is there's cholesterol in eggs. Cholesterol is not good, therefore don't eat that many eggs.
Mm.
But actually, cholesterol wise, at least, it seems that the eggs are not actually that bad. Um,
That seems like really good news if that like turns out to be correct.
yeah, because it's one of those things where it's very easy to come to the wrong conclusion here. Um, and yeah, so that was the fact of the week, which brings us to our square note, which after show.
Tonic and laser.
Yes, but last time we discovered the tonic first is better, right?
Yes.
I think it was at least definitely better last time, but I think there was actually like an objective reason because we wanted the A there. No, we didn't want the A there. We wanted the.
I don't know what we wanted there. Probably the S, if anything.
I think that was the reason why I said it might be better. It doesn't super matter. The point is we have all the letters that we'd like to put in here at the
Yeah.
beginning. Now we know there are no L's or C's.
Okay, that's good.
And
Usually the C's can be tricky.
yeah. Um, and we have unusually little in terms of like row and column one, especially.
Yes.
2 weirdly enough tends to not be as full, although maybe that's because we have the words the other way around now. But I guess row 2 has 3 letters, including one that is already fixed in place.
Yeah.
No negative RNs except for the column that already has the A in it. No negative E hints except for, of course, already the column that has the aim. So not a lot to go off. I guess the main question is now, do we want to test for an N somewhere in a new spot? And do we want to test some letters we haven't used yet? We can also test for the S if you want to.
I don't particularly like to test for the S because one of them is definitely going to be wrong.
Right. We probably want to test for U, as I'd like to always suggest for the third word. So N and U.
How about nudge?
Well, it puts the N in the exact same spot that we already tried.
Right.
I mean, I like the idea besides the fact that it's not good. But okay, yeah, that didn't sound very. I like the word, right? But it's just not very useful. Undue. It gives us double U, which is, well, 2 U's, I should say. God damn English language. I mean, it's called W. It's more like a V. Yes, I know. In the Roman language, like in Latin, like the U and V were somewhat interchangeable, but still, it's W, not W. The French are right on that one. They also call Y, which is the Greek I, which is funny. Not really helpful.
Not quite.
I was trying to think if there's anything clever I can do. Okay, let's see. What other letters do we want? M?
Possibly an R?
Oh, possibly an R, right? In that word. Yeah. Yes. The spot where would be most useful to try, I guess, are also the ones where it can't be, right? It's a bit off. I mean, because if it is here for the row,
Yeah.
it can't be here for the column, and analogously for this spot. M, maybe B, P, something like that. Monks, more accurate pronunciation. Well, it depends on the dialect.
Monks?
Oh wait, is it? Oh, it's not a U.
Yeah.
How? What is a U? Yeah, I think I was trying if there's anything with mun, and then came out with monk because it sounds like mun, but yeah. Again, I blame the English language. I mean, that's probably a big part of the reason why this game is so fun. Because if the English language wasn't all screwed up, it would probably be too easy. If the pronunciation was consistent, it would be a lot easier to guess words, I think.
Probably.
Now we have a lot of like short words, for example, for weirdly enough, like bun. It's like, okay, bun would be a great word, right? We wanted N, we wanted U, we wanted B maybe. It's like run if you really want the R, right? Like it's like that's nothing. It's like, oh yeah, okay, buns. It's like, yeah, it's still too short. Puns. Buns. Tunas. That actually fits, but S at the end.
Rouge. Rogue.
I was just trying to think, is it rouge or is it rogue?
Whichever one is better, I guess.
Yeah, so the O is not allowed there, which is annoying because it's in the same spot for both words.
Yeah.
The U is obviously doesn't matter because we haven't gotten a U hint at all. Although I guess putting a third means that we only get one hint. So rogue is better in that regard. Although I guess same applies to the G.
Yeah.
Um, E's in the same spot either way as well, and it's a decent spot. The O's annoy you because it doesn't
Ro.
work. Ragu.
Ragu?
Ragu. It's a food thing.
I see.
Oh no.
I have no clue what it is.
I'm pretty sure it's spelled like that. It's not spelled like that. Okay. That's probably not French. Huh. Anyways, um, the problem with Rouge was that we didn't specifically want the oh that
Perfect.
runes.
Oh, I like that. That is great.
It's a bunch of letters that were already sort of applied in some ways. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
Can we replace the S with something?
ruined.
That would be much better.
Yeah, I was thinking about the S not being optimal. The E is actually terrible because it doesn't work in either spot. Yeah, I just now noticed as well. Ruins, obviously. And that's the problem with the E, but then we can't. I don't think we can do ruined like that. So then we, I think then we'd be settled with the S, unless you can come up with something clever for that. But that would at least still test the R, the N, and the
Yeah.
U.
I mean, that's fine.
I mean, the one S could be right. It's just the other one that
Yeah.
can't be right. So wait, is it? Yeah, we are right because yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole lot of not much.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say all or nothing, but it never is nothing, right? Any hint that isn't redundant is useful. Okay, so we have another orange R hint. There's R's everywhere. But also, we have two white R hints, so there are R's very few places. And actually, it's kind of weird, right? Because you have here, there, for the row,
And
there, the column, there for the row,
and the last spot as well.
here, there, what? Oh, the row, right? The row can have the last one, yeah. It's almost like 3 spots at most that it can be, which is still a lot. But the fact that it's interesting that we have like two R's, they can be like in 3 spots each. But there's also like a little bit of overlap potentially, but that can be, of course. The N looks a lot like it wants to be at the very center.
It does.
It doesn't strictly have to be, but we would have to have two other N's. One in the row, one in the column. And there's only, once again, respectively, 3 spots where they can go.
The S is interesting as well. Only has 2 spots.
Yeah, first and second to last. Okay, so we need an S, and it can't be here anyway, so we might as well put the N there for now. S in first seems like a very plausible thing to do in a general matter.
Mm-hmm.
S in second to last, well, after N is somewhat limited. NS something? Actually, no. Is it limited?
What?
If we were to put this, it feels a bit awkward. And it doesn't feel impossible.
What?
NS doesn't feel impossible, but it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like particularly intuitive or common either.
Mm-hmm. And there's bonsai.
Yeah, I mean, there is. Well, wrong letter. There is bonsai, but bonsai has 2 letters after it. Right, so obviously, like NS can exist in a word. I'm not done yet. Specifically as an ending, NST, nst, I don't, no, it's NGST usually, right? So I think it would have to be a vowel, and so it would have to end in like. I mean, it would probably end in sa. So say si so su. That's the last one. And then the end would be from the first syllable. I think is how it would work, right? I mean, even bonsai is
Yeah.
like 2 syllables, right? Not that it's an English
Well,
word in origin, but
I mean, a couple more syllables in the original language, but sure.
yeah, okay, right. Because we bo, sa, e,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. But I is a diphthong in English, and a syllable can end in an N. So yeah. So I feel like S in first is a good guess if we have N in the center, which is by no means a given. But it also limits. No, wait, that R is already limited to 2 spots in that column. So that's not new. It's just that it probably doesn't go after the N either.
Yeah, I'm trying like a lot, all kinds of different combinations, and like it just doesn't really work.
I mean, there are also communities where the Arsenal side anyways, so we always like putting things there. So do we think that the second row starts with ear?
Could be.
Because if it doesn't, it ends in E. Either one of which seems
Plausible.
utterly plausible.
Yeah.
Deeply plausible. Way too plausible. Okay, what else do we have? I mean, that's pretty much it, right? I mean, sure, we have O in the first row, but there's like 3 spots that I can't really distinguish in any meaningful way. We have I in the fourth column that, again, there's like 3 spots that I can't really say which of those would necessarily be bad.
Mm.
I mean, ending in I maybe is a bit awkward. But I in second is perfectly legitimate. I mean, obviously, same place for the fourth row, so having it in 4/4 would make sense, but
Yeah, right now I would like to try a U either in first or last spot,
okay.
because then we can pretty much narrow it down to like 1 or 2 spots where it needs to go.
If you want to narrow down the N as well, we can do unlit.
Unlit.
No L's, of course. Unbit. It would be unbitten, right? That's fuck. Do you think it says suggest something and it sounds good, and then I notice like half the letters sound loud? It happens to me every single time. Undid.
That works.
We haven't tried these at all, which is nice to do that then.
What about undig? But that would probably be undug, right?
Um, I mean, that would be, and that would be a past tense, right? Like,
Yeah.
if it is an activity that you can do, if you can in fact undig something, then it would be to undig in the infinitive.
Yeah, wanna give it a try?
Sure. I mean, I don't think it's a word, which is yeah.
Unfortunate.
I mean, undid is obviously a bit awkward with double E.
Mm.
But then again, like, unless it's a black hint, it's gonna give us a lot probably. Like, if they're white, like if they're all white, then like it's pretty limited. If they're like all orange, it's gonna kind of clutter the grid. The ends are not like amazing because we already have a decent idea where possibly the only end of the grid goes, but it does still narrow them down. The U you wanted there. Wait, is there a reason why I specifically wanted last? What about second to last?
The U?
Yeah.
I mean that works as well, but then we
Yeah.
have less coverage.
Yeah, also the word I was looking for is undue, which has the awkward position thing that we can't have ease in this word, like whatsoever.
Yeah. Also, if we don't particularly care about the D, we can do unzip.
That works. I think I prefer that mostly because
Unfit.
unfit.
Where do we have T's? Only in the very first spot. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think it's the best. Unzip is fun, but obviously Z is almost certainly not going to be in there.
Yeah.
the two Ds could be useful, but again, if they end up being busts and they're not in there at all, it doesn't give us anything. Well, that just went fast.
Yep.
I think my entry key is not properly debounced because I've had that happen other places before as well, where like it feel like it seemed like I might have hit it twice.
Huh.
It's also again recent things. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
So well, we hit one of the
Oh.
U's.
Another N.
Yep.
I guess. I mean, if the S is wrong, it doesn't have to be. But like, if the S is right,
S and N.
but S and double N. Oh, right. You said S and N. I thought you said S and N. But I mean, I heard you say N, but like,
yeah,
you know, S and N, like D&D. Right. So yes. It's dubious. So what?
So
What
it
was your
could
discovery?
be the other way around. So it's SN and then blank instead.
Yes.
Could reasonably
Could very
be
well
the
be that,
case.
which is annoying. Then the other one is an N down here.
Yes.
The point is we have one N down here and one. Goddamn X-wings. Okay. What about the T? No T in the last.
Oh, we have a T, with an orange one as well.
Yes, and it can only go in one of two spots here, and equally one of two spots there.
Yeah,
which feels fairly constrained.
it does, but we don't really have anything else to go off of. How? What? No.
Oh, right, that's the wrong column. Yeah, we don't have anything else to go off of. See, I was gonna say, like, well, UT is like, you can totally do that, but like, it felt better to have the other way around, but like, yeah, no, it's just the wrong column.
Okay, what else did we discover? Nothing much, did we?
Nope. I was gonna say what I think. I'm thinking T here because T here is a little awkward. Because a lot of words that have AR and then a T at the end would be double R. Like parrot, right? Like those kinds of words. Because you'd have to have a vowel. Obviously, if this is T, this has to be a vowel. Which basically has to be A or I. No, which actually has to be A or I unless it's Y. So like what is that?
Yeah.
What does it make? Like I'm sure there are some loanwords that do that. French loanwords probably. But it doesn't feel very natural. It doesn't feel very Germanic to do that. Actually, no, there are literally German words in it. But it doesn't feel very it didn't feel very intuitive to me. Although that is more of a guess than anything else, really. To a lesser extent, you could apply the same
So wait,
logic.
why couldn't we have the... Wait, why can we have...
If we put a T here,
Yeah?
then we'd have to have an A or an I probably here.
Why can we not place the R there instead?
Because we wanted the R there rather than here, I think. I think we did it off of the column.
Possibly, although I don't really see a reason why we would want it there.
Yeah. I think I was doing a thing where I was like, probabilistically, it seems more likely to be there or something, but like, it doesn't have to be the case. And then, yeah. I mean, I guess the takeaway is that like we have even less than we had put in.
Yeah.
Like,
although that wouldn't really work with like the E hint as well, and the A where it's placed.
right. Wait, I said, yeah, it has to R.
You were probably going off of ear.
Yeah, I think I said year or ending in E. AE doesn't happen, generally speaking. That
Yeah.
it's very rare in English to have A followed by E. So the E probably goes in first or last. Goes in last. We could have an R, but then we would have to probably have a. We would have to have a. We'd have to have like a G or something like that. I think like well, pager doesn't work. It's the other way around then. But some in that sense, right, where you have like a some. I'm not sure if you can have a vowel there, like a diphthong, where like ow, ow, right, like that. It seems unlikely if it's followed by R E. I mean, it's not generally not super common.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's a vowel, it would have to be if it's a consonant, it has to be one
Oh
that goes
wait,
before
I
R,
I just
like
I
G,
just noticed we do have a confirmed
T,
letter.
or D. Okay, please do tell.
So first row, the R is actually set on the last spot.
Um, right, because of the U, which it wasn't there before.
Yeah.
The most recent guess, which is why we didn't have it entered yet. Yes, and I will tell you no, which can't go in first.
Oh yeah, that is also
Which
confirmed.
the R then fixes the O.
That is great.
I was gonna say sour or hour or something like that, but obviously we.
Yeah. I mean, sour doesn't work because the S can't go there.
None of those work because they're 4 letters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there like a poor kind of a thing, or do we have to go with a double consonant? Scour does feel like it should work because of sour, but it's like a very different word. Wait, how do you spell scour? Huh.
I think you spell it that way.
You might be right.
But no C's anyway.
No C's. Okay. Spoor. Truer. Brewer. Adur. um, is that British spelling of odor?
Oh god.
I mean, it's not allowed in this case,
Yeah.
but because that kind of a thing could be a problem. If it could be British, because then it could actually just like sort of be a French word, right? Most of those in American English drop the U, which makes it a bit easier, right? Like again, like odor. Actually, I'm pretty sure the French word is odeur with an E, not with an O. So that's actually kind of weird in general. But like English being weird about loans is not that unique. Although I've noticed German tends to maintain the pronunciation of a loan word and change the spelling to accommodate it, whereas English tends to just take the spelling and change the pronunciation to fit the language.
That might be right.
Right, so we still don't have any indication whatsoever about the first 2 digits there of digits. Yeah. Letters is what they are if it's a word. Because we don't have any others that we need in that row, and we don't have any that we need in those respective columns besides the one n that can't be there by rule. So by this hit. But that actually means that there's literally no positive information that we have on those two. That's even like remotely relevant.
Yeah.
We could try a word that has a T in either the second or third spot, and like 100% fix all the T's. I mean, obviously, any word that we try with a T in it Uh, you know, it would be illegal in the row, but it could actually be hit in the column,
Mm-hmm.
and then would give us a relevant hint for the row as well. It would just, be like a point up type hint.
Yeah.
I think we could be like entirely crazy to go like otter or something. Not useful, but
No. Let's not.
funny thing is the E's would both be illegal, and the O's would both not work as well. So I mean, the one would be illegal, the other one would just be blocked by the R being there, guaranteed. R and T. We're going back to the T definitely being there.
Yep.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say there's just straight up no English word that starts with the letters RT. Because there's no conceivable way to pronounce it in English, right? Like it's just like phonetically doesn't.
I don't think there is. Yeah, no, that is crazy.
It's kind of funny sometimes when like the English name is like, oh yeah, we can't have those words in the beginning. Like Earth is like a totally like a thing, right? Like you could have Earth. This just can't be at the beginning of a word. Like same like Eng, right? Like you can have King, but you can't have Noon, which is a Vietnamese name or something. But like English speakers they can't.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they have those exact sounds in that order, just not in the beginning of a word. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not blaming English speakers. It's just that it's kind of funny how linguistics work sometimes. Yeah. So the T is basically given.
Mm-hmm. Do we try to come up with like? Do we want to place the E there as well?
I was thinking about that just now. Well, it doesn't go after the O, I would assume.
Yeah.
It could go before the A, of course. Um, I almost like it better before the A, but it can certainly go after the R at the end of its row. Um, uh, retro.
Guess that could work. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't.
Well, the R is a bit awkward because the row can't have R's categorically, and so the column could have an R at that spot. It's just there's nothing that points towards there being one because we already have our R for the column. The O seems fine. The E seems decent. It's also not a super great amount of extra information, especially because I think we only have one O that we definitely need, and we already found that as well. Retry.
Yeah, I just thought of that as well.
I think it's like objectively better in our situation than retro at the very least. So it's super into the R, but the problem is I'm not sure what much else we can do with RET. I mean,
wretch would be a word, but no C's.
right, wretch. You can, I think, it's spelled that way. Wait, can you? Isn't it with a W?
Wait.
Wretch. WRECETCH? Like wretched?
What does that mean?
Didn't you just say wretch?
No. Without a W.
Yeah.
Wretch.
What's that supposed to mean?
Okay.
Huh. Like wretched? Like a wretch? Like something like, lowly? Like a beggar, sort of like a poor person, poor condition, sort of a
I see
thing. Like what do you mean by wretch?
Not too clear in the meaning.
Okay. Wretch. I think that's how that's used. Wretched. That almost sounds more densely. I'm not entirely certain either entirely, but I would spell definitely. Okay. I think retry is probably the best we can do. Because I was just thinking if I just generally can come up with words right offhand that are RET, the only one I could think of that doesn't have the R is retcon, which is short for retroactive continuity. So like the R is still there, you just can't see it, you know? It's a compound of a freaking contraction. So like that doesn't seem like it necessarily reflects that much on the general usage of those letters. I think we just try retry. Sounds so funny to say. Retry.
Hey,
That was just the word, which is like
good.
super not useful.
I know it is useful because we got another R hint.
I know, I saw it.
Which confirms that
has to be there because there's none allowed there. Which I guess fixes this row as well. Now this column still needs one. It's not allowed to go there or there. It could go there. These are double R, which is very possible, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Or down here. Down here. Wait. So I think it does work in place names for sure. Like I'm pretty sure there's a place that has something bar. But like that's not a word, I think. Like a non-proper nouns kind of a word, like a regular like dictionary word.
Well, you can just brute force it at this point.
Par, perhaps. Var, perhaps. Bar and mar, perhaps. I don't see anything that like definitely works with the double R. Which doesn't necessarily mean anything because we've had words that we don't know before. Like that's possible. Now this is not super common either, but I'm pretty sure it works.
So you would have to put the T in second.
Ouch. Huh. Now I feel less confident about that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel super great about Rear to begin with, but Trier, like Trier, Etrier, Autrier, Itrier. I mean, not all those are legal, but I'm starting to think this is not the R, which means this doesn't have to be the T either. Which means that this would be the R. Which
at least these have like plausible sounding words.
I mean, that seems like a likely a spot for the N still, but it's still not exactly guaranteed. Oh, right, we can, just like to put in the other spot because the row needs one either way. Well, like, we can do this still. These are a little frustrating, those ends.
Yeah. Okay, what kind of negative hints do we have? There's a T, which we have placed already.
S.
We have the O's, which we also have.
S, we don't have. We have positive hints for S, but wait. We have no. Wait, wait. Oh, we already have an S in the row.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's already a letter there. This can't be an S. This can't be an S. It's like, this has to be the S. It's like, well, the letter there is an S. Okay, great. Very stupid question out of principle. Could this be an S? Ursine, as in relating to bears, is too long. Because I don't think this can be a word. Ursip, Ursim, Urzit. Like,
it doesn't sound like one.
I'm just pointing it out because if this can't be the S, then this is basically forced to be the S. Which is not super helpful, admittedly, but it does at least like fix the letter a bit. I mean, in terms of positive hits, we just like have to figure out which one of those two is the N. It can't be both because of the S. And then one
Mm-hmm.
of those, at least one of those, has to also be. I'm tempted to say exactly one of those. Um,
Don't know yet.
yeah, I was thinking like double NY is very common, but double NEY seems like more, or double NAY seems more of a. He's not even allowed. AY seems more like a stretch, I would argue. That would have to be like NA, NA. Well, it can't be NA. INA, INA, ANI. Oh no, we already work. Yeah, I think most. I think we have besides the ends, we have used every single positive hint haven't we?
I think
This is a very
so.
frustrating piece of knowledge. Um, so
Yeah,
the
I don't like that at all.
an S.
Oh
With,
no, we still have the T, the
uh,
horizontal one.
right, we just have one T. Well,
But other than that, no.
um, right. So tier or middle of the second letter T. Okay, so wait, no, this can't be a T. This can't be a T. This is forced.
Oh, it is.
That there was a new T and that came in later
Right.
when we typed in retry. We didn't even notice it.
That is true.
Which fixes our ends. Does it actually fix our ends? No, it doesn't, does it?
What? How?
The other way around? Wait, can it be TN at the end even? I'm gonna just say. So it actually does fix our ends, it just fixes them the other way, then for some reason I typed in.
Yeah, I can't come up with anything for TN.
Now we have two overlapping words that need two letters, being these two and these two. And these two. But now we have a lot of words that just need two letters, which wait, almost every word just now needs two letters, and this one needs only one actually.
Yeah.
Which is the one that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like B is the most natural because I'm pretty sure I've seen it in a place name before. Whether that means it's an actual noun is. It also looks like it could be related to barren. Then again, maybe that's how they spell parry in fencing. Parry? Parried? No, wait, that would be double E, not double. Doesn't sound very French. I'm pretty sure fencing uses French terminology.
Mm.
Yeah.
Isn't there also something like carré?
Carré.
Yeah.
Interesting, yes. I'm pretty sure it's with a C, though.
I thought so as well, but I wasn't sure.
Also, I'm not 100% confident it's double R because, like, French sometimes sounds like a double
Yeah.
R, but so French does have stress, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets a bit awkward with their short vowels and long vowels because they're the same.
Yeah.
Well, I think they basically don't use long vowels, generally speaking. So it sounds like a double letter, like in Germanic people would have like a German would have a double letter after a short vowel, but in French you don't. So if you have a French alone, sometimes it feels a bit weird. It's like carré, like oh yeah, that means it's like a freaking square pattern, right? Like it's one of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it might just be CAREE. Well, or one E, depending on. I think double E if it's feminine, single E if it's masculine. Okay, a sanity check. Can this be a vowel? That looks terrible.
I don't like that at all.
And that is worse.
Oh no.
Oh, and you are not allowed, so we don't even have to look at that. So this has to be a consonant, almost certainly followed by an S. Which means this is a vowel. Pretty sure we don't have like a ps or a bz or a ts or whatever. Like Tar. No, it can't be. I was just thinking like for like a scale, right? The button for like resetting it. I think it says tar, doesn't it? Like
Wait,
T-A. It might be T-A-R-E. It might be. I'm not sure if it's double E, but
I
it
don't know.
sounded.
I have no idea.
It sounded like something. It's definitely not that. The point being, this is probably a vowel. I mean, this being a concept is kind of a given, and this can still only be A or E if it is a.
What is manta?
Like a manta ray. You know, like a.
I see.
Can I have a ray? It's a
Yeah.
fish.
But would
Can I
you
go?
just?
Can I go fish?
Yeah. But would you write it like that?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I would never use it as a standalone word, but I'm pretty sure this covers the space in English because they don't do compounds. So
I guess. Huh.
I mean, if you have a better suggestion,
No, I don't. That's the problem.
but Amul seems like such a good fit, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like it exists in expressions, and we've had words before that were like foreign words that you don't really use in conversation in English, but they have like stock phrases that they go in.
Yeah.
And so having like mon amour in there would like not be out of the usual framing. Okay. This letter still feels very restricted. It has to be able to be before a T, and it has to be able to be between R and I. Which would be something you could do with a G, for example. Maybe. It looks kind of like urgent, but it's an I. Like, urge. And GT as an ending is definitely possible. I mean, I guess the easiest would be T, right? Which is not allowed. I'm pretty sure. Didn't we have limitations of what T's could go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not allowed.
Because double T is always like an easy cop out, and URT, not super confident, but or second R, which is also not allowed. Okay. Oh, the worst part is the R, as we said, is forced by the column, and the U and the I are givens. So as awkward as this set of letters is, it has to be correct. Like necessarily has to be correct in this order. Which is annoying. Wait, could that be? Could it be a vowel? It's almost a
Yeah,
possibility that keep.
I'm trying to think of some right now, but I can't really.
Well, A, E, I, O, and U, and sometimes Y.
I mean, yes, that is not what I meant with this.
Yes, I know. I need to be helpful in some way. Okay, like this is not going well.
Good.
And by the way, E, U, and I are not allowed. So
Yeah.
if it is a vowel, it has to basically be A or O. Which I mean, basically makes it A, right? If it is a vowel, which it doesn't have to be, but if it is a vowel,
In what sense is it better than O?
because OI seems rarer than AI.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess if it's like a Latin thing or something, then it's or Greek or whatever, like it could probably be. Euro, Euro with Euro with Euro with Euro. Euroroik, Euroroik, Euroim, Euroip, Euroi, Euroiv. I'm gonna just say that's solid.
Yeah.
I think it gets just as bad as for trying, I shouldn't say that. You raid. You're a Viking. You raid. You rake. You're a gardener. You rake. That's even worse spelling wise than the you raid one, because at least raid is spelled that way. You rave. So it's probably a consonant then.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which feels even more awkward though, because then you kind of have to. I mean, I guess it could be something, right? Is an eligible prefix from old, right? Like original, basically. Yeah, sometimes just old. It's an old prefix.
Yeah. Didn't know that existed in English.
Yeah, I think it's mostly common in like fantasy. I think sometimes it is used as like just to like make something more dramatic, as like the ancestor or something. I mean the dragon. That's a magic thing. But like it does make sense to me, which also means.
I mean, it does make sense to you, probably because you're a German speaker.
Yeah. It's more common in German, but it does exist in English.
Yeah, I have not seen it in English before.
Which also means that it technically could be anything if it is as a prefix. Then we just have to have a 3-letter word that can go after which means it's almost certainly a noun, but that's not super limiting. I could say gin, but that doesn't work because we kind of ends there. Kin.
Huh.
Kin as in kinfolk, like as in your family. As in that's not allowed. Right? There's no ends. God, I keep forgetting there's no ends there. I know. I was gonna say urchin, but that's like 2 letters and also no C's, right? So it's like so bad that it almost feels right again. Urray, T, Z, P, Z, D, G,
I mean, what kind of letters can go in the last spot there anyway?
Well, no R's, A's, S's, or T's. That much is sure. No R's either. Oh, right, I said that already. No N's either, which is obviously a letter that I would love to put there. D.
D can go there, yeah.
It feels somewhat reasonable to put a D there because
no E's either.
Because I was gonna say T, right? And then it's like it doesn't work, but D works all the same. Yeah, like
handy.
Handy, like as in useful. Yeah. A little bit awkward because usually we want the S to be sitting right on that H. We don't do SCH in English. So it would have to basically be another vowel almost. But yeah, it would have to be A or O. It would have to be A. So A is the only vowel that can go here. That itself is bad though. But if this is a consonant, which almost certainly is, then this has to probably be a vowel between the S and the other consonant. So this is probably an A either way. Which brings up more questions than answers, of course. dandy. Yeah, dandy. As in either some runs
Yeah.
fancifully or it's fine and dandy. Which then there's the question: can we make this a word? I know, right? All sad, or are sad, sad, azad, upsad, sad, adzad, agzad, upset. Right? Uh, uh, I'm not happy with the column, but that does feel like mar might be the word, right? To mar, to like
Mm.
to put a scratch on or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a confident move, but I'm not sure MSAD doesn't work anyways. Which brings up the awkward question of, is it the S after all? Like, does the S have to go there?
Understood. I mean, seems as valid a word as Mara.
I'm sure Mar is a word. I'm just not sure if it's spelled that way. I mean, we could just try the first two rows. See if either of them are actually accepted words.
True. Let's try.
Because Amour was a stretch to begin with. It's also correct, mind you.
God damn.
It's not Mar. Because awkwardly, it also has an M instead. Yeah, right there. Wait, so no O's, no U's. Well, we all knew there was no R's down there. Damn it! But did I ever say that it has to be R there? Well, we just didn't like it being there. I don't like it in either spot all that much.
Man, what is this one? This is the toughest one in a while.
I'm tempted to agree. At least all the ones we played. We don't play that
Yeah.
many. But yeah, bar. Bar as in disallow. It's just BAR still.
Yeah, it's still bar. I mean, bard is a thing, also spelled with double R, but with an extra D at the end.
Right. So to bar has a connection to being spelled with a double R and E, but like specifically, yeah, in the past participle or like yeah. I don't like this either. Well, if this doesn't have to be an S, it doesn't have to be an A. But how much worse is it to actually try to put a consonant there? Streer.
Not that bad, actually.
And I think S is the only one that goes before T, right? Like, just generally speaking.
Doesn't P also kind of?
Yes, but the P silent.
Yeah.
Like in pterodactyl. I think it's specifically pterodactyl.
Yep.
Pterodon as well. But yeah, that is I think about it. You have a similar thing in pneumatic, but it's not a T anymore. But it's the we can't pronounce a P before another consonant thing that again English speakers have, because apparently the French word pneu, meaning tire, is quite difficult for English speakers. I was like, why is this difficult? Like,
I don't know.
Or rather, I think I was talking French. It was like, oh, this is a difficult word to pronounce. I was like, pneu. Like, what's the difficult one? It's like, well, pn doesn't exist in English, and doesn't exist in English either.
Right.
So for English speakers, it's actually kind of hard. But me as a German speaker, we have pneumatic being the literal cognate there. Well, the same prefix. And we have as a sound, so it's like pneu. It's like, well, I don't see a problem.
Seems fairly straightforward.
Yes. So, I'm. God damn it. I have a word, but then we have to put the R back. I do kind of like stare.
Yeah, dude, this
which does make this a G. I was waiting for the G somewhere.
Yeah.
This is angst then.
Yeah. God, it all falls into place.
This still has this is still the same problem as the last time, where there's ASD. Wait, I think last time was SAD.
Could it be Sandy?
It could be Sandy.
And then it's a mass.
And then it's a mass.
No, it's not a mass. Because we tried the M there.
I mean, to be fair, Sandy is still probably better though.
Yeah.
Because except it's not an actually, so it can't be Sandy.
No.
I like double S at the end much better than could have been alas. That's one else. It could have been well, a pass. That's not what we're looking for. Oh, to be fair, like, yeah, no,
it could be
mass was the other one.
H again. It could be Ash.
Oh yeah, it could be Ash. It probably is Ash, actually, come to think of it. Because now with the S being there, it makes more sense, right? And then it's like wash. A wash.
Yeah, that works.
Apparently that is a word. It's just not the word what we're looking for. They just enter the other words and then just basically brute force the last letter.
We could.
Assuming that is correct. Maybe it could be a gash because gar. There might be a couple of 2 R's. Like station, a train station. Oh god. I think gar might be. I'm not sure if French. But I think it might also have a meaning like fort or something, which might have then been used in like colonial America, or even for like during the normal occupation of England, and therefore have like some limited usage still in English.
Oh, that could be.
That's why like gar could potentially be an actual word here, and a gash, while not exactly my favorite way of using that, like does still like sound vaguely plausible, right? Like if you have a gash, you are a gash, right?
Yeah.
Like, anyways, these are definitely words. Well, we don't have any hints for H's. Now we can quickly look at. Do we have any new hints that are pointing at this? Obviously not. So do we want to just try a gash?
Yeah.
Not a word. A lash? Oh, no L's. I guess that's the thing, right? We don't really have to try all that much, really.
Mm-hmm.
A rash. Is that? No, it's not.
No R's.
I was almost trying to make the attache work, but attaché is spelled with CH. It also doesn't work. A batch. Like abashed is definitely like unabashed.
Yeah.
So why not? And then we're back to being bar, which I said earlier. I just don't know that it's
Yeah, apparently it is. Huh.
Amour, bar, angst, which I'm pretty sure is also not from German, although it doesn't mean the same thing. Stare.
It confuses me every time.
Well, I mean, I think angst is sort of like an existential fear.
Yeah.
So I think there's still like an element of where you can have the fear connection. to German. Right. What was the word here? The second column. Manta as a matter, right? Organ. Ursid. Oh, is it a thing that's bear-like? Right? Like, ursine means bear as an adjective.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I said that earlier.
Oh,
and so
I wasn't paying attention.
So if it's an ursid, it would be probably something akin to a bear. Like maybe like a fucking trash panda, raccoon. Somehow I can always come up with trash panda faster than a raccoon. I don't know. And we tried. Which we did a lot. Okay, so we're now quickly look up definitions because we always do that, and then we're gonna go to the songs of the week because that's just what we're gonna do.
This has been going on for way too long.
Bar is a handrail fixed to a wall, as in a dance studio, used for ballet dance to support certain exercises.
Of course,
it's also a fingering technique used with fretted string instruments, in which a finger is laid across a fretboard to stop all or several strings at once, which is completely unrelated, but sounds equally fanciful.
Yeah, I think I might have actually heard that being used in this.
And then what was the other one? Ursid, right?
Yeah.
Which
probably bear-like.
And you know the family Ursidae, so it's actually it's not even bear-like, it's just bear.
Yeah.
It's just Latin for bear. Right, so songs of the week. What is your song of the week?
Let me quickly
look that up because you forgot.
Look that up again. Yes, because I forgot. It's Zod the Immortal by Beat in Black. Yeah, I had it. It's good. I like Beat in Black. Yeah.
I didn't know that particular song, but yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, apparently it's about a character in Berserk.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like people miss how nerdy metal is.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of has a very different image, but like so much metal is like really nerdy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, some very more on the sleeve than others. Like if you look at Glory Hammer, they're just like dressed up as a D&D characters, basically. I don't know if it's literally like a D&D thing, but
I don't know either.
There's like an entire story behind it, and they're all different characters, and it kind of sounds like a D&D thing. I mean, the Quest Lords of Inverness, right? Like,
yeah. Definitely.
Right. Not about this. This song also good. Anything else about the song?
Not about the song, just in general. I kind of been on a metal trip recently, the last month, I guess. And yeah, finding lots of songs I like.
Yeah.
That is one of them.
I couldn't see why. My song of the week is not gonna be part of your metal trip. It's Tiny Dancer by Private Dancer by Tina Turner. Got my words mixed up there. It almost Tiny Dancer is an Elton John song, so that kind of
I see.
Private Dancer by Tina Turner. I don't know if the cover is slightly cropped or if the font is just terrible. But that looks like an M. The IN looks like an M.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's slightly cropped. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
It probably is slightly. Yeah.
Oh, that's my mistake. I realize what happened there. Yeah, a good song, classic song. Technically it's a cover, I think, but this is, I think, the most famous version of it as well. Tina Turner, a lot of good songs. I haven't heard a Tina Turner song recently as a song of the week. I didn't have a single one in the clips, and I've been making the clips myself for like a couple of years probably now. So I'm surprised. I thought I had used this specific song before, but I couldn't find any evidence on it. So yeah.
Guess you haven't then.
That was my guess as well.
Yeah.
Which I guess brings this episode of the Trash Talk podcast to a close. If you want to see more of this, like this and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you there's something just don't. Okay.
That's it.
That's it.